Haribol. So who would like to chant the prayers? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Oh, was there? No. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Umagnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapatakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
I can help you with this one, Prabhu. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Haribol.
Haribol. Narayanam namaskritya narum chaivam narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet shrinvatha swakatha krishna punya shravana kirtana hiridi antosto hei apratarani vidunoti suhurt satam Nashta prayeshu abradeshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utama sloke bhakti bhavati naistiki. You can go to the top, Prabhu. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in the classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandot, Pranam to all of you, Jai Sri
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Shubham
Krishna,
Prabhu,
Prabhu, please accept my
Jai
please
Prabhupada.
accept my brothers and sisters. Srila Prabhupada. Should I someone start, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, I think Lord Indra is included here. The horse sacrifice.
Yes, Prabhu. That's true.
Oh, should I? King Pritu's 100 horse sacrifice. Text 1. Maitreya Uvacha Ata Dikshata Rajatu Haya Meda Shatena Saha Brahmavarte Manoho Kshetre Yatra Prachi Sarasvati. Maitreya Uvacha, the sage Maitreya said, Atha, thereafter, Adikshata took initiation, Raja the king, to then hire horse, Meda sacrifice, Shatena to perform 100, Saha he, Brahmavarte, known as Brahmavarta, Manoho of Sayambhuva, Manu, Kshetre in the land, Yatra where Prachi, eastern, Sarasvati, the river named Sarasvati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, King Prithu initiated the performance of 100 horse sacrifice at the spot where the river Sarasvati flows towards the east. This piece of land is known as Brahmavarta, and it was controlled by Swayambhuva Manu. Tata Abhipritya Bhagavan Karma Tishyam Atmanaha Shata Kartur Na Mamarshe Rishe Parto Yagna Mahotsavam. Synonyms: Tat Abhipritya. Considering this matter, Bhagavan, the most powerful, Karma Atishyam, excelling in fruitive activities, Atmanaha, of himself, Shata Kartu, King Indra, who had performed 100 sacrifices, not Mam Rishe, did tolerate Prito, O King Prithu, is it Prithu, O King Prithu, Yagna, sacrificial, Maha Utsavam, great ceremonies. Translation: When the most powerful Indra, the king of heaven, saw this, he considered the fact that King Prithu was going to exceed him in fruitive activities. Thus, Indra could not tolerate the great sacrificial ceremony performed by King Prithu. Purport: in the material world, everyone who comes to enjoy himself or lord it over material nature is envious of others. This envy is also found in the personality of the king of heaven, Indra, as evident from revealed scriptures. Indra was several times envious of many persons. He was especially envious of great fruitive activities and the execution of yoga practices or siddhis. Indeed, he could not tolerate them, and he desired to break them up. He was envious due to fear that those who performed great sacrifices for the execution of mystic yoga might occupy his seat. Since no one in this material world can tolerate another's advancement, everyone in the material world is called Matsara, envious. In the beginning of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it is therefore said that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is meant for those who are completely nirmatsara, non-envious. In other words, one who is not free from the contamination of envy cannot advance in Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, however, if someone excels another person, the devotee who is excelled thinks how fortunate the other person is to be advancing in devotional service. Such non-envy is typically of Vaikuntha. However, when one is envious of his competitor, that is material, the demigods posted in the material world are not exempt from envy. Yatra yagna patahi sakshad Bhagavan Hare Ishvaraha Anvabu Yata Sarvatma Sarvai Loka Guruhu Prabhu. Yatra yagna patihi sakshad. Okay. Synonyms: Yatra, way, Yatrapati, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, Sakshat, directly, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, Lord Vishnu, Ishvaram, the Supreme Controller, Anu, Anvabhuyata became visible. Sarva Atma, the super soul of everyone. Sarva Loka Guru, the master of all planets or the teacher of everyone. Prabhu, the proprietor. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is present in everyone's heart as the super soul, and he is the proprietor of all planets and the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. He was personally present at the sacrifices made by King Prithu. Purport: in this verse, the word Sakshat is significant. King Prithu Maharaj was a Shaktyavesha avatar or Shaktyavesha avatar, incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Actually, Prithu Maharaj was a living entity, but he acquired specific powers from Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu, however, is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus belongs to the category of Vishnu Tattva. Maharaj Prithu belonged to the Jiva Tattva. The Vishnu Tattva indicates God, whereas the Jiva Tattva indicates the part and parcel of God. When God's part and parcel is especially empowered, he is called Shaktyaveshata avatar. Lord Vishnu is herein described as Hare Ishvara. The Lord is so kind that he takes all miserable conditions away from his devotees. Consequently, he is called Hari. He is described as Ishvara because he can do whatever he likes. He is the supreme controller. The supreme Ishvara Purushottama is Lord Krishna. He exhibits his powers as Ishvara, or the supreme controller, when he assures his devotees in Bhagavad Gita, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. He can immediately make his devotees immune from all their reactions caused by sinful life. If the devotee simply surrenders unto him, he is described herein as Sarvatma, meaning that he is present in everyone's heart as the super soul, and as such, he is the supreme teacher of everyone. If we are fortunate enough to take the lessons given by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, our lives immediately become successful. No one can give better instructions to human society than Lord Krishna. Anvito Brahma Sharva Bayam Loka Pali Sahanugai Upagiyamano Gandarvai Muni Bisha Pasaro Ganahi Chapasaro Chapsaro. Synonyms: Anvitaha, being accompanied, Brahma, by Lord Brahma, Sarva Bayam, and by Lord Shiva, Loka Pali, by the predominating chiefs of all different planets, Saha Anu Gahi, along with their followers, Upagi Yamanaha, being praised, Gandharvahi, by the residents of Gandharvaloka, Muni Bihi, by great sages, Cha also, Apsaraha, Ganahi, by the residents of Apsaraloka. Translation: when Lord Vishnu appeared in the sacrificial arena, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all the chief predominating personalities of every planet, as well as their followers, came with him. When he appeared on the scene, the residents of Gandharvaloka, the great sages, and the residents of Apsaraloka all praised him. Text 5. Siddha Vidaya Dara Daitya Dana Vagu Yakadayaha Sunanda Nanda Pramukhaha Parashada Pravara Hare. Synonym: Siddha, the residents of Siddhaloka, Vidyadhara, the residents of Vidyadhara Loka. The Ityaha, the demonic descendants of Diti, Danavaha, the Asuras Guyaka, Udguyaka, Adayaha, the Yakshas, etc. Sunanda, Nanda, Pramukhaha, headed by Sunanda and Nanda, the chief of Lord Vishnu's associates from Vaikunta, Prashada, associates, Pravaraha, most respectful, Hare, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation. The Lord was accompanied by the residents of Siddhaloka, Vidyadhara Loka, all the descendants of Diti and the demons and the Yakshas. He was also accompanied by his chief associates, headed by Sunanda and Nanda. Kapilo Narado Dato Yogeshaha Sanakadayaha Tam Anviyur Bhagavatam Ye Chatat Seva no Tsukaha Yo Kapila Muni Naradaha, the great sage Narada, Dataha, Datatreya, Yoga Ishaha, the masters of mystic power, Sanaka Adayaha, headed by Sanaka, Tam Lord Vishnu, Anvi Yuhu, followed, Bhagavataha, great devotees, yea, all those who Cha also, Tat Sevana, Tsukaha, always eager to serve the Lord. Translation, great devotees who were always engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as well as the great sages named Kapila, Narada, and Dattatreya, and masters of mystic powers headed by Sanaka Kumara, all attended the great sacrifice, with Lord Vishnu. It reminds me of chapter 1, Prabhu. Everyone is gathering there, like when they get it to Kurukshetra. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Gaura Shakti Prabhu, Haribo, and the Raj Prabhu, Haribo.
Hare Krishna, dear Prabhus, please
Hare
accept my
Krishna,
humble
Prabhu Sandar Pranam,
obeisances.
Jai Shri
All glories to
Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, God, both are not. Yes,
Jai.
Yatra,
Haribo.
okay, Haribo. Yatra Dharma Dugaha Bhumi, Sarva Kama Duga Sati, Dugdi Sambi, Dugdi Sambi Psitan Artan, Yajamanasya Bharat. Synonyms, Yatra, way, Dharma, Duga, producing sufficient milk for religiosity. Bhumi, the land. Sarvakama, all desires. Duga, yielding as milk. Sati. Can go down, Prabhu. The cow. Dogdi Sma, fulfilled. Abhipsitan, desirable. Artan, objects. Yajamanasya, of the sacrificer. Bharat, my dear Vidura. Translation, my dear Vidura, in that great sacrifice, the entire land came to be like the milk-producing Kamadhenu, and thus by the performance of Yagna, all daily necessities for life were supplied. Purport, in this verse, the word Dharma Duga is significant for it indicates Karmadhenu. Karmadhenu is also known as Surabi. Surabi cows inhabit the spiritual world. And as stated in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Krishna is engaged in tending these cows. Surabi, Abi Pala Yantam. One can milk a Surabi cow as often as he likes, and the cow will deliver as much milk as one requires. Milk, of course, is necessary for the production of so many milk products, especially clarified butter, which is required for the performance of great sacrifices. Unless we are prepared to perform the prescribed sacrifices, our supply of the necessities of life will be checked. Bhagavad Gita confirms that Lord Brahma created human society along with yajna, the performance of sacrifice. Yajna means Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and sacrifice means working for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this age, however, it is very difficult to find qualified brahmanas who can perform sacrifices as prescribed in the Vedas. Therefore, it is recommended in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Yagnahi Sankritana Prayahi, that by performing Sankritan Yagna and by satisfying the Yagna Purusha Lord Chaitanya, one can derive all the results derived by great sacrifices in the past. King Prithu and others derived all their necessities of life from the earthly planet by performing great sacrifices. Now, this Sankirtana movement has already been started. By the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. People should take advantage of this great sacrifice and join in the society's activities. Then there will be no scarcity. If Sankirtana Yagna is performed, there will be no difficulty, not even in industrial enterprises. Therefore, this system should be introduced in all spheres of life, social, political, industrial, commercial, etc. Then everything will run very peacefully and smoothly. Uhu sarva rasan nadayaha, kshira dadai ana ago rasan, taravo buri vasha manaha, prasu yanta madu chutaha. Uhu bo sarva rasan, all kinds of taste. Nadyaha, the rivers. Kshira, milk. Dadai, curd. Ana, different kinds of food. Go rasan, other milk products. Tara vaha, trees. Buri, great. Varsha manaha, having bodies. Prasu yanta, boar fruits. Madhu chutyaha, dropping honey. Translation: the flowing rivers supplied all kinds of taste, sweet, pungent, sour, etc., and very big trees supplied fruits and honey in abundance. The cows, having eaten sufficient green grass, supplied profuse quantities of milk, curd, clarified butter, and similar other necessities. Purport: if rivers are not polluted and are allowed to flow in their own way, or sometimes allowed to flood the land will become very fertile and able to produce all kinds of vegetables, trees, and plants. The word rasa means taste. Actually, all rasas are taste within the earth. And as soon as seeds are sown on the ground, various trees sprout up to satisfy our different tastes. For instance, sugarcane provides its juices to satisfy our taste for sweetness, and oranges provide the juices to satisfy our taste for a mixture of the sour and the sweet. Similarly, there are pineapples and other fruits, and at the same time, there are chilies to satisfy our taste for pungency. Although the earth's ground is the same, different tastes arise due to different kinds of seeds. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam, I am the original seed of all existence. Bhagavad Gita 7.10. Therefore, all arrangements are there. And as stated in Ishopanishad Purnam Idam, complete arrangements for the production of all necessities of life are made by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. People should therefore learn how to satisfy the Yagna Purusha, Lord Vishnu. Indeed, the living entity's prime business is to satisfy the Lord, because the living entity is part and parcel of the Lord. Thus, the whole system is so arranged that the living entity must do his duty as he is constitutionally made. Without doing so, all living entities must suffer. That is the law of nature. The word taravo, buri, varsha, manaha indicate very luxuriantly grown, big-bodied trees. The purpose of these trees was to produce honey and varieties of fruits. In other words, the forest also has its purpose in supplying honey, fruits, and flowers. Unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, due to an absence of yagna, there are many big trees in the forest, but they do not supply sufficient fruits and honey. Thus, everything is dependent on the performance of yagna. The best way to perform yagna in this age is to spread the Sankirtan movement all over the world. Thank you, Prabhu. Someone else can read, Prabhu. Just need to go somewhere quickly.
Go. Thank you so much, Libang, Prabhu.
Aribu.
Who would like to read next?
Hare Krishna Prabhu's Thunder Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada. Can I continue next?
Jai Shri Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, text 9. Sindhavoratna Nikaran Girayo Anam Chaturvidham Upayanam Upajharu Sarve Loka Sapalaka. Synonyms: Sindhava, the oceans; Ratna Nikaran, heaps of jewel; Giraya, the hills; Annam, eatables; Chatuvidham, four kinds of; Upayanam, presentations; Upajaru, brought forward; Survey, all; Loka, the people in general, of all planets; Sapalaka, along with the governors. Translation: King Prithu was presented with various gifts from the general populace and predominating deities of all planets. The oceans and seas were full of valuable jewels and pearls, and the hills were full of chemicals and fertilizers. Four kinds of edibles were produced profusely. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As stated in Upanishad, this material creation is supplied with all potencies for the production of all necessities required by the living entities, not only human beings but animals, reptiles, aquatics, trees, etc. The oceans and seas produce pearls, corals, and valuable jewels so that fortunate law-abiding people can utilize them. Similarly, the hills are full of chemicals, so when rivers flow down from them, the chemicals spread over the fields to fertilize the four kinds of foodstuffs. These are technically known as charvya, those edibles which are chewed; leya, those which are licked up; chushya, those which are swallowed; and peya, those which are drunk. Prithu Maharaj was greeted by the residents of other planets and their presiding deities. They presented various gifts to the king and acknowledged him as the proper type of king by whose planning and activities everyone throughout the universe could be happy and prosperous. It is clearly indicated in this verse that the oceans and seas are meant for producing jewels, but in Kali Yuga, the oceans are mainly being utilized for fishing. Shudras and poor men were allowed to fish, but the higher classes like Kshatriyas and Vaishyas would gather pearls and jewels and corals. Although poor men would catch tons of fish, they would not be equal in value to one piece of coral or pearl. In this age, so many factories for the manufacture of fertilizers have been opened, but when the personality of Godhead is pleased by the performance of yajnas, the hills automatically produce fertilizing chemicals which help produce edibles in the fields. Everything is dependent on the people's acceptance of the Vedic principles of sacrifice. Text 10. Iti chadokshajyesya prithostu paramodayam Ayuyan Bhagavanindra Pratighatam Achikarat. Synonyms: Iti thus also Adokshaja Ishasya, who accepted Adokshaja as his worshipable lord. Pritho, of King Prithu. Tu, then. Parama, the topmost. Udayam, opulence. Ashuyan, being envious of. Bhagavan, the most powerful. Indra, the king of heaven. Pratighatam, impediments. Achikarat, made. Translation: King Prithu was dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Adhokshaja. Because King Prithu performed so many sacrifices, he was superhumanly enhanced by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. King Prithu's opulence, however, could not be tolerated by the king of heaven, Indra, who tried to impede the progress of his opulence. Purport: In this verse, there are three significant purposes expressed in the words Adhokshaja, Bhagwan, Indra, and Prithu. Maharaj Prithu is an incarnation of Vishnu, yet he is a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Although an empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu, he is nonetheless a living entity. As such, he must be a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although one is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is an incarnation, he should not forget his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Kali Yuga, there are many self-made incarnations, rascals, who declare themselves to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The words Bhagavan Indra indicate that even a living entity can be as exalted and powerful as King Indra, for even King Indra is an ordinary living entity in the material world and possesses the four defects of the conditioned souls. King Indra is described herein as Bhagavan, which is generally used in reference to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this case, however, King Indra is addressed as Bhagavan because he has so much power in his hands. Despite his becoming Bhagavan, he is envious of the incarnation of God, Prithu Maharaj. The defects of material life are so strong that due to contamination, King Indra becomes envious of an incarnation of God. We should try to understand, therefore, how a conditioned soul becomes fallen. The opulence of King Prithu was not dependent on material conditions. As described in this verse, he was a great devotee of Adhokshaja. The word Adhokshaja indicates the personality of Godhead who is beyond the expression of mind and words. However, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears before the devotee in his original form of eternal bliss and knowledge. The devotee is allowed to see the Supreme Lord eye to eye, although the Lord is beyond the expression of our senses and beyond our direct perception. Text 11. चरमेनाश्वमेधेन यजमाने यजुष्पतिं यैन्ने यज्ञपशुं स्पर्धन् अपोवाह tirohita. Synonyms: Charmena, by the last one; Ashwamedhena, by the sacrifice of Ashwamedha Yagya; Yajamane, when he was performing the sacrifice; Yajupatim, for satisfaction of the Lord of Yajna; Vishnu, Vainne, the son of King Vena; Yajna Pashum, the animal present to be sacrificed in the Yajna; Spardhan, being envious; Apovaha, stole; Tirohita, being invisible. Translation: When Prithu Maharaj was performing the last horse sacrifice, Ashwamedh Yagna, King Indra, invisible to everyone, stole the horse intended for sacrifice. He did this because of his great envy of King Prithu. Purport: King Indra is known as Shata Krato, which indicates that he has performed 100 horse sacrifices, Ashwamedh Yagya. We should know, however, that the animals sacrificed in the Yagna were not killed. If the Vedic mantras were properly pronounced during the sacrifice, the animal sacrificed would come out again with a new life. That is the test for a successful Yagna. When King Prithu performed 100 Yagnas, Indra became very envious because he did not want anyone to excel him. Being an ordinary living entity, he became envious of King Prithu, and making himself invisible, he stole the horse and thus impeded the Yagna performance. So it seems here like one who performs 100 times this Ashwamedh Yagya, he becomes Indra. And I also heard that if one becomes Indra 100 times, then that person is eligible to become a Brahma, to take the post of Brahma, like that.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Text 12. तम अतिर्भगवानेक्षात् त्वरमानं विहाय सा अमुक्तम इव पाखंडम यो धर्मे धर्म विभ्रम. Synonyms: Tam in King Indra, Atri the sage Atri, Bhagavan the most powerful, Aikshat could see, Twaramanam moving very hastily, Vihayasa in outer space, Amuktam Eva like a liberated person, Pakhandam impostor, Yah one who, Adharme in irreligiosity, Dharma religiosity, Vibhrama mistaking. Translation: When King Indra was taking away the horse, he dressed himself to appear as a liberated person. Actually, this dress is a form of cheating, for it falsely created an impression of religion. When Indra went into outer space in this way, the great sage Atri saw him and understood the whole situation. Purport: The word Pakhanda used in this verse is sometimes pronounced Pashanda. Both of these words indicate an impostor who pretends himself as a very religious person, but in actuality is sinful. Indra took up the saffron-colored dress as a way of cheating others. This saffron dress has been misused by many impostors who present themselves as you have gone down. This saffron dress has been misused by many impostors who present themselves as liberated persons or incarnations of God. In this way, people are cheated. As we have mentioned many times, the conditioned soul has a tendency to cheat. Therefore, this quality is also visible in a person like King Indra. It is understood that even King Indra is not liberated from the clutches of material contamination. Thus, the word Amuktamiva, meaning as if he were liberated, is used. The saffron dress worn by a sannyasi announces to the world that he has renounced all worldly affairs and is simply engaged in the service of the Lord. Such a devotee is actually a sannyasi or liberated person. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Anashritya karma phalam karyam karma karotiya sasannyasi cha yogi cha nanirgnir nachakriya. One who is unattached to the fruits of his work and one who works as he is obliged in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no work. Bhagavad Gita 6:1. In other words, one who offers the results of his activities to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually a sannyasi and yogi. Cheating sannyasis and yogis have existed since the time of Prithu Maharaj's sacrifice. This cheating was very foolishly introduced by King Indra. In some ages, such cheating is very prominent, and in other ages, not so prominent. It is the duty of sannyasi to be very cautious because, as stated by Lord Chaitanya, sannyasira alpa chidra sarve loke gaye. A little spot in a sannyasi's character will be magnified by the public. Therefore, unless one is very sincere and serious, he should not take up the order of sannyas. One should not use this order as a means to cheat the public. It is better not to take up sannyas in this age of Kali because provocations are very strong in this age. Only a very exalted person advanced in spiritual understanding should attempt to take up sannyas. One should not adopt this order as a means of livelihood or for some material purpose. Okay. Text 13. Atrina chodito hantum pritu putro maharata ana anvadhavata shankrudhas tishta tishteti chabravit. Synonyms: Atrina, by the great sage Atri; Chodita, being encouraged; Hantum, to kill; Prithu Puta, the son of King Prithu; Maharatha, a great hero; Anvadha, Anvadhavata, followed; Shankrudha, being very angry; Tishta, Tishta, just wait, just wait; Iti, thus, Cha, also, Abhravit, he said. Translation: When the son of King Prithu was informed by Atri of King Indra's trick, he immediately became very angry and followed Indra to kill him. Can you go down? Calling him, wait, wait, purport. The words Tishta Tishta are used by a Kshatriya when he challenges his enemy. When fighting, a Kshatriya cannot flee from the battlefield. However, when a Kshatriya out of cowardice flees from the battlefield, showing his back to his enemy, he is challenged with the words Tishta Tishta. A real Kshatriya does not kill his enemy from behind, nor does a real Kshatriya turn his back on the battlefield. According to Kshatriya principle and spirit, one either attains victory or dies in the battlefield. Although King Indra was very exalted, being the king of heaven, he became degraded due to his stealing the horse intended for sacrifice. Therefore, he fled without observing the Kshatriya principles, and the son of Prithu had to challenge him with the. Can you go down, Prabhu? And the king of heaven challenged him with the stealing of the horse intended. Therefore, he fled without observing the Kshatriya principles, and the son of Prithu had to challenge him with the words Tishta Tishta. Hare Krishna. If anyone else can continue, thank you so much. Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.
Haribol, thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, who wants to read few more verses, like 3 more?
I can read for
Yes, Prabhu. Haribol, thank you so much.
text 14. Tam tatrish krityam vikshya nene dharmam saririnam jatilam prasna na channam tasmai banam namu munchati. Similarly, him tadrisha akritim. In such dress, Viksha, after seeing Mene, considered Dharmam, pious or religious, Sharirinam, having a body, Jatilam, having knotted hair, Vasmana, by ashes, Vachannam, smeared all over the body, Tasmai, unto him, Banam, arrow, no, not Munchati, he did release. Translation purport by Swam Gracious Vikram Samshul Prabhupada. Translation. King Indra was fraudulently dressed as a sannyasi, having knotted his hair on his head and smeared ashes all over his body. Upon seeing his such dress, the son of King Prithu considered Indra as a religious man and pious. So we can spell it. Sannyasi. Therefore, he did not release his arrows. Text 15. Vadhan Niru Nivritin Tambhuyo. तवे त्रिरक्षोदयत् जहि यज्ञहनं तात महेन्द्रं विबुधा धमात् वदत् from killing nivrittam stop them you son of Prithu bhuyaha again antave for the purpose of killing Atri the great sage Atri Achodayat encouraged Jahi kill Yajnahanam, one who impedes the performance of yajna. Tata, my dear son, Maha Indram, the great heavenly King Indra, Vibhuda Adhamam, the lowest of all demigods. Translation: When Atri Muni saw that the son of King Prithu did not kill Indra, but returned deceived by him, Atri Muni again instructed him to kill the heavenly king, because he thought that Indra had become lowliest of all demigods due to his impeding the execution of King Prithu's sacrifice. So Prabhu, King Prithu was doing this sacrifice, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
But here it is said that the son of King Prithu.
Yes, Prabhu. He went after Indra. Does it say it here? See here?
So what was the name of King Prithu's son?
I don't remember, Prabhu. Who knows? Maybe Shubham Prabhu knows.
What, Prabhu?
Who is the son of King Prithu?
No mention of their name, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu. When text 16. Evan Vainyasuta Proktas Tvara Tvaramanam Iha Yasa Anvapravat Abhibuddho Ravanam Gritha Grithra Evam thus Vainyasuta, the son of King Prithu, Prokta being ordered Tvaramanam Indra, who was moving hastily, Vihayasya in the sky, Anadravat began to chase Abhi Krudha, being very angry, Ravana, Gridharat, the king of vultures, Eva, like translation, being thus informed, the grandson of King Vena immediately began to follow Indra, who was fleeing through the sky in a great hassle. He was very angry with him, and he chased him just as the king of the vultures chased Ravana. Text 17. Soswam Rupam Chatat Ditva Tasma Antarhita Swarat Vira Swapasham Adhaya Pitur Yajnam Upe Ivan Saha King Indra Ashwam the horse Rupam, the false dress of a saintly person. Shiva also thought that Hitva giving up the snake for him. Antarhita disappeared. Swarat Indra Virat, the great hero, Swapasham, his animal, Adaya, having taken Pituhu of his father, Yajnam to the sacrifice, Upayivan, he came back. Translation: When Indra saw that the son of Prithu was chasing him, he immediately abandoned his false trust and left the horse. Indeed, he disappeared from that very spot, and the great hero, the son of Maharaj Prithu, returned the horse to his father's sacrificial arena. Text 18. Tattasya cha bhutam karma विचक्ष्य परमर्शय नामधेयं ददुस्तस्मै विजितस्व इति प्रभो तस्य च also adbhutam wonderful karma activity vichakshya after observing Paramarashya the great sages Namadheyam the name Tadu they offered Tasmai to him Vijita Ashva Vijit, Vijitasva he who has won the horse Iti thus Prabhu my dear Lord Vidura. Translation My dear Lord Vidura, when the great sages observed the wonderful prowess of son of King Prithu, they all agreed to give him the name Vijitasva. So here is the name.
Yes, bro. Okay, Haribol, tomorrow we continue from 19. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Lord.
चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुतिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मास्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
नामगाय भक्तानि सर्वशक्ति तत्रार्पिता नियमतः स्मरणेन काल एतादृशीतो कृपा भगवान् ममापि दुर्दैवमे विस्मयारण्यनुराग
तृणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना मानिन मानदेन कीर्तनीया सदा हरि
न धर्म नयनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां जगदीशकामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवदाद्भक्तिरेतु गीतये
हैनन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपा तव पादपङ्कजस्थितधूले सदृशं विचिन्तय
नयनं गणदस्तुताया वदनं गदगतिरुद्धया गिरा पुलकलितं भवत् हरि प्रभु
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रविश्यायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे
आश्लेषवापादरतां कनिष्ठमाम् अदर्शनां मर्मातां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदिताखिलं पठे अप्राणनाथस्य सत्यगुणापरा.
Haribol. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
Oh my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions, flame, redemption, blessing of hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of your kindness, you enable us to easily achieve by chanting your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Oh Almighty Lord, I have no desire to communicate with others, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your costly devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharananda, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of atoms of your lotus feet.
Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love one constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice wake up and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of the name?
O Govinda, putting your suppression, I am constructing a movement to be like to appear more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vegan in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Shikshashtakam ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
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 बहुजन्म को बहुजन्म करो यदि श्रवण कीर्तन तब तन पाए कृष्ण पद प्रमदान. If one is infested with the 10 offenses into chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy names for many words, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. First offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense is to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to be equal to or to independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Third offense is to disobey the orders of spiritual master or to consider him as an ordinary person.
Fourth offense to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in the pursuance of the Vedic version.
Fifth offense to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination.
Sixth offense to give some interpretation on the whole name of the Lord.
Seventh offense to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
Eighth offense is to consider chanting of Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as productive activities karma kanda.
Ninth offense to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Tenth offense to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding human instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success of Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanchakalpatarubhishcha, Kripasindhubhyacha,
Patitanam Bhavaneshu Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Antaguchi Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai, and Thai Gora Premanandi,
Jai.
Hari Hari Bo.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you for your precious and valuable association. Jai Shila
Thank you so
Prabhupada.
much for association, Prabhu. Jai Shri Prabhupada. In this week's session. See you again tomorrow.